Right now at 5, authorities in Lawrence County, Missouri issue a felony DWI after a head-on crash.
We're tracking storms for your Friday afternoon. I'll have the details.
And a Southwest Missouri man is charged with a dozen felonies, including one for murder.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. Well, how about those rain chances that we've seen? I think it's really interesting that we're only 7 days into the month and we're only 0.64 inches away from our average rainfall for the month of July.
We're getting back.
Yes,
where we need to be.
Yes, we're getting back. So it looks pretty clear to see that we'll be above average by the time we get to the end of July. Let's take a look at our live radar, however. We've got this large storm system off to our west. This will continue to move further south and west, so the stronger part of the storm itself around the further south, northwestern parts of Oklahoma, that's going to move into the Oklahoma City metro. But what we're going to see later on this afternoon is the leading edge of this rainfall. Now, as it crosses I-35 and pushes further east, it's going to lose all of its energy, and so we'll begin to see more isolated showers with this. It's going to break down quite a bit as we head into the afternoon hours. So be prepared for those showers and storms, but at the same time, nothing will be severe at this point, just something to keep in mind for your morning commute. Temperatures right now hanging around upper 60s, mid 60s across the board. Joplin right at 70 degrees, Lamar 67, Nevada 65, Parsons at 68 degrees, Oswego, you're at 66 right now. So we're sitting pretty mild and we're going to warm up just a little bit into the afternoon hours. Starting your morning, we'll see temperatures rise up into the 80s, but we do have an isolated chance for some scattered showers and storms throughout the mid-morning and afternoon hours. We'll also see them into the evening hours and throughout the rest of the week. I'll have the full forecast. That's all coming up here in just a bit, but I'm going to toss it back to you, Tanya.
All right, thanks, Chloe. Authorities issue felony DWI charges after a head-on crash in Lawrence County, Missouri. The crash happened around 9:45 Thursday morning on US 60 near Verona. 2013 Ford F-150 crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a 2004 Ford F-150. Both drivers from Aurora suffered serious injuries. The driver of the 2013 F-150 was arrested and charged with felony DWI and careless and imprudent driving. An Oklahoma child died from injuries suffered in an ATV crash Thursday night. The crash happened near Winoka. Authorities say an 11-year-old girl was driving too fast for a curve and left the road where it rolled. ATV landed on its side on top of the girl. A man from Southwest Missouri is charged with a dozen felonies, including murder for a deadly crash that happened nearly 6 months ago. Stephen Jordan of Republic was going the wrong way on a Springfield freeway in January and hit a van head-on. The crash killed 3 people and injured 5 others from Texas. All were headed to a family funeral. Liam Garrity has reaction from relatives of the victims.
Stevens' blood alcohol concentration was 0.211%. That level was more than 2.5 times the legal limit. What do you want to say to that?
It kind of makes me really sad because it's it hurts.
Kimsha Rosensteel lost her aunt, uncle, and cousin in the head-on crash in late January. Investigators say Stephen Jordan was first spotted going the wrong way at James River Freeway and National.
The family is wanting him in jail. They want him in jail.
8 people were in the SUV that got hit. 3 died and 5 others went to the hospital with injuries. Rosensteel says they were on their way to a funeral for her mother who died in a crash 2 days before. Investigators say Jordan smelled of intoxicants and had an empty beer bottle in his truck.
So I was trying to get some peace. I'm angry now because of all this information here that you're just telling me.
Mr. Jordan has 4 prior convictions for driving while intoxicated as well.
Yeah, Ugh, we didn't know that. That's heartbreaking as well. That's very heartbreaking.
Rosensteel hopes the justice system works to keep Jordan put away.
We have so many individuals like Mr. Jordan that's been able to fly on the radar. And then finally, when they do get caught, you leave lives devastated behind you.
Jordan's next court appearance is set for next Wednesday. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we meet a girl from Parsons who's showing girls everywhere that they can do anything, including power lift. Plus, a district attorney in Tennessee seeks the death penalty in a case despite being against it. That brings us to our morning talker. Are you for the death penalty or against it? And a new Alzheimer's drug gets the FDA's full approval. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
A high schooler from Parsons, Kansas has a unique hobby. Autumn Sands is a 3A state powerlifting champion. Sands is entering her sophomore year of school as she continues to pump up her resume in the iron she lifts.
Women's powerlifting continues to be a growing trend, but in southeast Kansas, a young girl started as a CrossFit junkie, which evolved into something else.
I started CrossFit when I was 9, and I've been doing CrossFit for about 6 years. And 2 years ago, I decided to join a weightlifting club, Lion Chaser Barbell, to get a little stronger to help with my CrossFit, and I kind of just took off in weightlifting as well.
Autumn was inspired from what she saw from her parents at the gym.
My parents actually came and started working out, and I was like, that looks fun, I want to try that.
The 9-year-old kid from Parsons was just trying to stay out of the way until one day she got noticed by a trainer like a diamond in the rough.
The gym was really full, and we didn't want her taking away space from paying customers. So we just kept saying, go back in the kids' room, go back in the kids' room. But then there was one day there weren't a lot of people here, and she came out and did a few workouts and got noticed by another member who was a trainer and said, I think she has a lot of potential. I'd really like to work with her.
Fast forward 6 years later, and now Autumn is starting to grow into a national figure.
I'm a national champion, and then I won 3A state powerlifting, and I got 16th in the CrossFit Open in the semifinals.
Autumn is set to represent her country in late July, as she is already qualified for the Youth Pan American team for Team USA, which only 2 girls are selected. The small-town girl isn't letting go of her dreams and knows she has what it takes to make it to the big stage, no matter where you come from.
Autumn has set the state record for power cleaning 200 pounds, along with 635 total pounds. With all of her other lifts, Autumn was tied for first place in the online qualifiers. Later this month, when she heads to Michigan for Team USA, where she will represent her town and her country. The Joplin Outlaws are winners of their last 6 games. The Outlaws are currently in first place in the Mink League South. Last night, Joplin opens up a road trip looking to make it 7 straight. Joplin hits the road to the state fairgrounds in Sedalia, taking the Bombers. Joplin was oh so close. The Outlaws trailed 11-4 at one point. They almost came all the way back, but they come up just short. The Outlaws' 6-game win streak comes to an end as Joplin closes to Sedalia's 11-10. Joplin will be back at it today, where they will be on the road in Chillicothe. Still to come, how a team of scientists from Switzerland look to change things up in the battle with wildfires, all thanks to heat-resistant drones. Plus, a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Stick around. Well, welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We're tracking some showers and storms just west of our viewing area. This entire storm system has been developing, has weakened substantially in the past couple of hours, and will move towards the Oklahoma City metro. So it'll move, for the most part, pretty south of us. So all we have to worry about is this leading edge of rainfall that's about to enter into our farther western counties around Sedan, Howard, and Eureka. These showers are weakening substantially as they cross east of I-35, and they'll continue to do so. They'll become a little bit more isolated heading into the mid-morning hours, but still keep that rainfall in mind because there's some locally heavy bands of rainfall associated with this storm system heading into the morning hours. We'll see another chance for storms later on today. Current temperatures right now hanging around in the 60s across the board. Some of us dipping into the 70s. Carthage and Joplin being one of them at 70 degrees. Lamar 67, Chanute 70, Parsons you're at 68 degrees. Right now for your morning, we'll warm up pretty swiftly heading into the 70s and eventually the 80s by 11 a.m. We have an isolated chance for some scattered showers and storms throughout the mid-morning and afternoon hours. So expect that throughout your afternoon, and even in the morning we'll still see the chance for that, but we'll see that most prominent risk heading into today. Here's your afternoon. We'll see temperatures reach up into the upper 80s, 87 for your high today. We'll see some showers, very isolated, but we'll see that chance and a slight risk for some strong to severe storms here and there. We can't rule that out. Here's a look at your evening. We'll see temperatures dipping down into the 60s, so a lot cooler than what we saw last week with those triple-digit temperatures. We have a higher dew point, which will make us feel a little bit on the muggy side, but aside from that, feeling pretty nice. Here's that look for the severe storms. Here's the timing on this, anywhere from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. tonight into Saturday morning. We'll see the chance for some storms across the board. It'll mainly stick around further south of us into Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas around the Bentonville, Fayetteville area. You'll see that strongest chance for some scattered storms, some of which could be strong to severe. All modes of severe weather are on the slight risk though. Here's a breakdown of that. We'll see clouds begin to enter into the picture heading into our afternoon hours. Here are those scattered showers that we'll begin to see pop up. They'll become a little bit more prevalent heading into Friday night, and then those widespread storms begin to ramp up late Friday night into early Saturday morning. This is going to overlap into your Saturday morning for quite some time. Saturday 2:30 we'll still see the lingering effects of that storm system into the 70s and into the 80s as well. We'll clear out a little bit more heading into Sunday, but there's still a chance for some isolated showers and storms on Sunday as well. So we'll begin to see that risk as well. Here's Sunday evening. We'll see temperatures hanging around into the 80s. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast across the board. 81 degrees on Saturday, 83 on Sunday. We'll see a chance for some precipitation, just a little bit less on Sunday at 20%, but then we'll begin to warm up pretty swiftly. 99 degrees on Thursday and Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if we see triple digits pretty soon here once again. A district attorney in Tennessee who opposes the death penalty is seeking it in a murder case. He's making an exception in the murder of Memphis jogger Eliza Fletcher. Jeremy Pierre has the story.
However, as DA, I have to follow the law. And although I think I reserve the right to use my discretion and my doubts about the efficacy of the death penalty to inform when I will and won't seek the death penalty, when there are sufficient number of aggravating factors and when the case seems sufficiently clear, then I will follow the law and seek the death penalty.
Cleopa Henderson and his lawyer listened as the judge read the DA's request seeking the death penalty if he is convicted. Henderson is facing first-degree murder and kidnapping of Eliza Fletcher. He's accused of snatching the school teacher during her early morning jog late last summer on Central Avenue. Mulroy says Fletcher's family is in the know about the reasoning for his decision.
Well, we've been consulting with the family. I met with them prior to this decision being made. We just met again just now. They've been kept informed every step of the way, and they are fully supportive of our decision.
Judge Lee Coffey announced in court he doesn't want this case to linger. He wants to see lawyers prepared to go to trial before the end of this year.
In terms of how quickly this case will be tried, it's a little difficult to say. The judge made a statement about his desire to have it take place before the end of the calendar year. We would probably be ready under that time frame, but I'm not sure whether that's actually possible given the turnaround time for testing. And
Moroy, who is nearing 1 year since entering the DA's office, ran opposing the death penalty. But he now finds himself with 2 capital murder cases against Henderson and Ezekiel Kelly that both came within his first week as DA.
What's your stance on the death penalty now?
my stance on the death penalty is the same as it was a year ago. I believe it's a policy matter. It's not a good idea. If I were a legislator, I would vote to abolish it. Like I said before, as DA, I have to follow the law.
Henderson's attorney, Jenny Case, declined to make any comment after today's hearing. Henderson is back in court August 4th.
Which brings us to our question, are you for the death penalty or against it? For the death penalty, against the death penalty, depends on the case. We want to hear from you. Go to KOAMnews.com/vote on the KOAM app, Facebook, or scan the QR code. We'll be right back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, we all know that exercising is important to keep the body healthy, but without adequate sleep, you might not be seeing all the benefits. And that's according to a new study. British researchers looked at people's exercise habits and the amount of sleep they got on average over a decade. They found that those who did high-intensity workouts but slept less than 6 hours a night had faster overall cognitive decline than short sleepers who exercised infrequently. In general, people who had higher levels of physical activity and slept between 6 and 8 hours per night had better cognitive function as they aged. Well, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is telling states that funding cuts are coming for childhood vaccine programs. The CDC's federally funded Vaccines for Children program provides vaccines at no cost to children who might not otherwise be vaccinated. The bulk of the funding that's been lost had been directed to states to help upgrade their vaccine reporting systems, and that's according to the CDC. An agency spokesperson says more cuts are still under consideration. Yesterday, the FDA gave its full approval on a landmark drug to treat Alzheimer's disease. Patients and their families have been pushing for approval of the medication, which has shown some promise in delaying the disease. And Bradley Blackburn has more on what the decision means.
79-year-old Susie Mitchell is living with the early symptoms of Alzheimer's disease with help from a drug called Leqembi.
I can stay active and healthy and with it.
A few months ago, with a diagnosis of mild cognitive decline, she started receiving infusions. Her husband, Tom, says her symptoms have stayed the same, which to them is a real victory.
I don't think there's been any change between even the first of the year and now.
In January, the FDA fast-tracked the approval of Leqembi, which targets plaques in the brain associated with Alzheimer's. A clinical trial with 1,800 participants tested the drug against a placebo and found it can slow cognitive decline by 27%, effectively delaying the disease by about 5 months. But more than 1 in 10 users had brain swelling or bleeding, and 3 patients died.
Without insurance, Leqembi costs more than $26,000 a year, but full FDA approval could expand coverage, including for up to 1 million Medicare patients with early cases of Alzheimer's.
We do know that there are a lot of third-party payers who are now having to strongly consider how they're going to pay and provide access to this particular drug.
Mitchell hopes more patients like her can receive the medication.
I feel like I can keep up and live my life the way I want to live my life.
Grateful for a treatment that gives her time and hope. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've also got a chance for some storms heading into your weekend. I'll have the details coming up.
Right now at 5:30, Crowder College receives a gift worth $1.4 million.
We're tracking the chances for showers and storms this weekend. I'll have all of the details.
And folks in Frontenac, Kansas geared up to celebrate the town's annual mining days.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. You know, Tanya, I think it's pretty interesting the rainfall chances that we've seen. And it's only been 7 days of July, and we're just under 0.64 inches of our average rainfall for the entire month of July. And we're expecting to see even more rainfall pretty soon here, which is a good thing for a lot of people. Because
we definitely need it.
We definitely need it for our agriculture out here and everything. It is a really incredible blessing that we're seeing. So we're continuing to track these scattered showers and storms across the map. Even just further west of us, we've got this large storm system that was severe. Now they're just strong storms, but we'll only see the northern portion of this. The bulk of it, the strongest part, a little further down south in western Oklahoma, is going to move towards the Oklahoma City metro around the I-35 corridor. But as we move in closer, you can see this leading edge of the rainfall just past the I-35, just east of I-35, and it's beginning to rapidly weaken. And so that's a good sign for us, but we'll be starting to see the effects of that and the rainfall that we really do need. But keep in mind that there will be a chance for rain as you're heading to your morning commute outdoors this morning. We'll see some scattered showers this afternoon as well. Pretty much the afternoon we'll have a chance for some isolated showers and storms. Temperatures right now hanging around in the upper 60s, lower 70s. Joplin 70 degrees. Neosho heading at 71, Stockton 64, Parsons 68, Welch you're at 64 degrees as well. So temperatures feeling pretty cool right now. We're continuing to see those cooler trends compared to what we saw last week with those triple-digit temperatures. Thankfully, we're not seeing that. We're still seeing higher dew points, however, so we're still a little bit on the muggy side, but we'll take what we can get at this point. Temperatures, thankfully, aren't in the triple digits as of right now. Starting your day, we'll see temperatures rise up into the 80s by 11 a.m., 81 degrees. We'll see the scattered showers and storms across the board. It'll be very isolated heading until we head into later on tonight, but until we'll see the more widespread showers and storms. Planning your afternoon, we'll see temperatures rise up into the upper 80s across the board, so a little below average for this time of year, but thankfully it's not too hot. But coming up in a bit, I'll tell you when we'll see those warmer temperatures and the full details on the chances for storms this weekend. That's all coming up here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Chloe. Engineering technology program at Neosho's Crowder College gets a boost from a 7-figure gift. In a ceremony Thursday afternoon, the college received a $1.4 million check from the estate of Greta Mitzi Rennick, a retired General Dynamics employee who died in March at the age of 94. The college president says it's among the largest individual gifts in the college's 60-year history. Among other things, it allowed Crowder to endow a new faculty position in engineering technology. Earnings from a portion of the money will help fund that position when the school finds the right candidate.
We're going to look for someone who really understands engineering technology, hire the best candidate for that position so that they can then finish the program, put the finishing touches on it, and then launch the program. We hope to launch that next fall, so that will be fall of 2024.
Earnings from the fund will also help support a leadership academy, construction of a press box, and other improvements at Rough Rider softball field. Well, you might notice a bit more color on a historic Joplin street these days. Inspired by a St. Louis suburb initiative, a Joplin greenhouse started a project to beautify the city by adding flowers to West 7th Street. Albert's greenhouse partnered with local businesses and with the city of Joplin to put 7 planters on the historic Route 66. The goal is to make the area look more like a neighborhood. The nursery sells a pot to the businesses and offers them the soil and the flowers free of charge.
It's always important to uplift people's spirits, and a few little flowers can just do it. It's never going to put a frown on your face.
As a local business, you know, whenever you get the opportunity to beautify your area that, you know, you're working in, it's a great opportunity to do so.
In April, and Albert hopes the supertunias will still be blooming on Thanksgiving. Next year, it continues. Flowers will be planted and replanted at no charge to businesses in the area. Awesome program. Well, 3 local veterans got a chance to take to the skies in a World War II era biplane. The nonprofit Dream Flights hosted the trip for 3 veterans living at medical lodges in Columbus, Kansas. 98-year-old Louis Saqueta, 74-year-old Ivan Queen, and 75-year-old Morgan Davidson. The flights took off from Pittsburgh's Atkinson Municipal Airport and lasted 20 minutes. And to some, there's a lot of beauty in the aircraft flown.
It just has a feeling about it. The Boeing Stearman, it's a biplane, it's made out of fabric. It served in our war, it served in ag processes for all over our country. And so it just has a lot of heart to it. It's a very romantic flight, very low and slow and pretty amazing.
Dream Flights was founded in 2011 and has hosted nearly 6,000 flights for veterans.
Hey y'all, back to Frontenac to the fair!
Folks in Frontenac, Kansas are celebrating Mining Days. The annual event kicked off Thursday evening, featured a silent auction, bingo, live music, trivia, and amusement park rides. Mining Days celebrates the town's founding back in 1886. They honored that history with a Heritage Hall exhibit set up at the town hall. With events like these, the goal is to make folks Raiders for life.
Fact of like people coming into our community and staying for a lifetime, you know. But I think that the biggest thing with the community and everything is just the togetherness, and because we have such rich history and so deep that people want to stick around.
Mining Days runs through Sunday with events including several street dances, a car cruise, a parade, dog races, fishing derby, and a medallion hunt. Well, downtown Joplin was also celebrating on Thursday. Several businesses displayed the work of local artists for the first Thursday Art Walk. The Art Walk ranged from photos to paintings and even mosaics made from Legos. And it's a Barbie world at the Arma, Kansas City Library. For this week's summer reading event, the library hosted a Barbie and Ken bash. People were encouraged to dress in their favorite Barbie and Ken attire and enjoy cupcake decorating. They made cupcakes inspired by the famous Barbie heel and a cupcakes with suit ties version for Ken.
So one of the things that I love most about Barbie is she can be anything, right? She can be a doctor, she can be a fashion designer, and I think that, especially growing up, for me, because I was a big Barbie girl, that was very inspiring because it showed me that no matter what, if you're a woman, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to go do it.
The theme was inspired by the upcoming Barbie movie that will be released July 21st. Switching gears here, and this morning we're discussing the death penalty.
Cleotha Henderson and his lawyer listened as the judge read a Tennessee DA's request seeking the death penalty if he is convicted. Henderson is facing the first-degree murder and kidnapping of Eliza Fletcher. He's accused of snatching the school teacher during her early morning jog late last summer on Central Avenue.
However, there is one slight hiccup to this. The DA, he's against the death penalty. He thinks it should be completely abolished in the state of Tennessee, and despite his own personal beliefs, he does say that he will follow the law on this as it is his job to do so.
Which brings us to our question, are you for or against the death penalty? So it looks like 79% are for the death penalty and only 21% are against it, while 0%, no one has mentioned that it depends on the case. So it seems very, very clear cut between the two responses.
It'll be interesting throughout the morning to see how that shifts as our, range of viewers changes.
I agree.
Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. A La Crosse, Wisconsin thrift store's goal is not to just bring low prices to the area, but raise money for local nonprofits as well.
Plus, the man who carved his and his girlfriend's name into the Roman Colosseum apologizes for what he did. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Neosho in honor of the Newton County Fair. Topping a World Watch, a tourist caught on video carving his name into the wall of Rome's Colosseum last month has sent an apology letter to the local prosecutor's office. That's according to his lawyer. In the letter, the tourist claimed not to know how old the 2,000-year-old building was. He wrote, "Only after what regrettably happened, I learned the antiquity of the monument." End quote. The prosecutor's office has not confirmed receipt of that letter. It comes as the tourist hopes for a plea bargain in charges that could carry a $5,400 fine and 15 days in jail. Internet personality Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were seen at the Bucharest Court of Appeal. They're hoping to end their house arrest pending an investigation into human trafficking and rape. The Tate brothers were indicted in Romania last month. Prosecutors say they lured several women by seducing them and falsely claiming to want a relationship or marriage. The suspects have denied those accusations. Well, the destruction of Brazil's Amazon rainforest appears to be slowing down. That's a reversal from the past 4 years when the devastation of the tropical ecosystem kept increasing. Government satellite data released on Thursday shows deforestation dropped by almost 34% during the first 6 months of President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's term. Lula campaigned on promises to slow down illegal logging and to help Brazil's environment bounce back from damage done under former President Jair Bolsonaro. Brazil is home to most of the Amazon rainforest, and it plays a key role in mitigating climate change since it can hold large amounts of carbon. Well, deaths from residential fires have increased by 8% from 2012 to 2021. That's according to the latest data from the U.S. Fire Administration. Those statistics, combined with the fact that wildfire season is underway across much of the West, has engineers looking for new ways to battle deadly blazes and keep people safe. Marianne Rafferty reports on the unique fire drone that could provide life-saving relief.
Whether they're residential or wild, fires are powerful and deadly. But engineers in Switzerland hope their fire drone will save lives while gathering critical data about these infernos. While some fire departments are already using drones to drop flame retardant in hard-to-reach places, many aren't built to be near flames.
Normal drones that one can buy are made of plastic, the motors are at the periphery, and the propellers and everything can melt very quickly.
But the fire drone is.
We use aerogel, so it's a polyamide aerogel, which is something that is extremely lightweight and it has a very high heat resistance. We've integrated a CO2 cartridge that can cool down the internals of the drone, where also then the motors are located.
Because of this, the fire drone can fly through flames, lasting in temperatures near 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. It's a prototype, so engineers hope to increase that time in the future. And while the drone is flying through a burning building or forest, cameras are monitoring for people and collecting stats on the flames.
It has a thermal camera and it has an RGB camera and could have also other sensors such as oxygen and gas sensors, toxicity sensors and so on, that can then get information on the structure of the environment.
Just like first aid kits are placed around offices and warehouses in the future, engineers hope to have fire drones in similar locations ready to go in case of an emergency. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We're tracking the chance for some isolated showers and storms into this afternoon. We have this big storm just off to our west. It was severe, now it's just very strong, especially further south. Fortunately, that stronger area is going to reach more so the Oklahoma City metro, so we won't have to deal with that, but we will see some rainfall begin to enter into the picture. Here's the leading edge of that. It's beginning to weaken as it pushes off to the east, pretty much as it passes the I-35 corridor or past the I-35 and eastward, we're seeing a weakening trend on those storms, and we'll continue to see that into the mid-morning hours, but still nonetheless a chance for some isolated showers and a couple thunder boomers here and there on your way to work this morning. So as you're driving for your morning commute, make sure you're staying aware of that. Temperatures right now pretty mild for the most part, into the 60s, 69 for Joplin, Neosho 70, 66 for Pittsburgh, Parsons you're at 68, Veneta you're hanging around at 66 degrees right now, and we're continuing to warm up just a hair. We are not warming up as much as we have been seeing, thankfully. We're not seeing any triple digits for the next couple of days. We'll see 81 degrees by 11 a.m. again with the chance for some scattered showers and storms. We'll continue to see that pattern throughout the afternoon hours. We'll warm up into the upper 80s, 87 for your high today, and then we'll cool down into the 60s, but we'll still see that chance for some isolated showers and storms into this evening. Here's your severe thunderstorm risk. Here's this darker green shade is a 1 out of 5 level for severe weather. This is just general thunderstorms, and then as you head a little further south, that's a level 2 out of 5. So a slight chance for some severe weather. All of our modes in that slider risk. This timing anywhere from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. where we could see the chance for some severe storms. Here's a look at your setup this afternoon. We'll see some scattered showers across the board into the afternoon, the remnants of this storm that we're seeing right now. And then later on tonight, we'll see those scattered showers pop up. We'll be in the 70s into the upper 60s. Saturday, 2 a.m. Early Saturday morning, we'll see more widespread storms. So it could be a late night for some folks, especially a little further south into northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. That's where you'll see the greatest chance for some stronger storms across the board. Saturday, we'll see some scattered remnants left over from that storm. Nothing really severe on that point, so it's really from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. is when we'll see that time frame where we'll see the loudest or hear the loudest storms from that. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll see a chance for precipitation and then a break before we warm up into the upper 90s. So that's it for your forecast, but first, here's a live look from Neosho in honor of the Newton County Fair. We'll be right back after the break.
A La Crosse area thrift store has moved more in 6 years than some of us move in a lifetime. But no matter where they go, their mission remains the same. Now, this thrift store brings more to its community than just low prices. It's raised $100,000 for local nonprofits since it started in 2017, and now it's starting fresh.
You have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Running a business is no easy task.
I sold my house to make this business work.
Just ask Mary Jo Wilbur.
I ask myself that almost every day because it's hard work.
Her shop is one you might recognize from Copeland Avenue.
Our store gives back to the community.
Formerly, the Root and Crown.
A lot of people thought we were a dental office.
Now, it's under a different name. What's now called Thrifty Pickins and Bucky's has planted roots in West Salem.
It's just a portion of the sales she gives back to the community.
And the business is powered by volunteers from those charities.
She has a real commitment to the community.
Kayla Colloway volunteers with Heart to Heart Pet Lifeline.
It's fun.
And Sally Davis is with the Down Syndrome Association.
There's not a lot of stuff that I don't do.
It's an idea born out of a childhood of service.
Here I am. Dad would be proud. I keep saying that because, boy, he worked his butt off having rummage sales. That's how we supported the family.
The road hasn't been easy. Mary Jo's business has moved multiple times. Her latest move was out of necessity.
And I ended up getting attacked in the back of the building. We needed to get out of there. And so we got out of there because it was just not safe anymore.
She and her team packed up and moved to West Salem.
Every time I drove by, it's like, someday, and boom, here we are.
And Sally and Kayla stuck with her.
She's had a lot of setbacks, we've made moves, and she just keeps trucking.
It's the store. It's the camaraderie of the store.
For them, it's more than a business.
Okay, thank you.
It's a mission.
Well, enjoy your visit.
And it's a family.
And they're still here. Even when times are tough, they're still continuing to be part of us because they know that we're a team and we'll make it through, every storm we do get through.
You can find the best stuff in thrift stores sometimes. We'll be right back. A new study finds snakes have a unique behavior similar to one found in humans. They comfort each other when stressed. Researchers with the journal Frontiers in Ethology studied rattlesnakes in stressful situations. Situations they created by placing the snakes in large plastic buckets, sealing them off, and then striking the buckets with pipes. That's very friendly. Using over-the-counter heart monitors, they tracked the animals' stress levels and found that those with companions had lower heart rates compared to those who were alone. This response, called social buffering, has never been recorded in reptiles.
That's a no for me. Starting your day, we'll see temperatures rising up into the 80s, upper 80s specifically. See those temperatures into 87 for your high. Today, we'll see the chance for some isolated showers and storms, most prominently into the later evening hours, anywhere from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. Here's a look at your evening. We'll see temperatures dipping down into the 60s. Rain chances all throughout the evening are possible, but they could be very isolated, so keep that in mind. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We have 3 days of precipitation in line. We've got Saturday and Sunday. We'll see a break on Monday, but then midway throughout the week, we'll see a chance for precipitation with temperatures in the upper 90s by the end of next week. We'll be right back for the KOAM news at 6. Stick around.
Right now at 6, 2 pickup trucks involved in a head-on crash at what authorities call highway speeds in Lawrence County, and the charges one of the drivers will face.
We're tracking chances for storms across the board. I'll have all of the details coming up.
And Frontenac residents didn't have to dig too far to find their way to the city's annual event known as Mining Days, which kicked off last night.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 o'clock. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. You know, Tanya, I think it's really interesting to see the rainfall that we've seen in the past week. We've been pretty below average this entire year, but then this month, we're just 0.64 inches away from being at that average mark for the entire month of July. And so we still have 3 or 4 weeks left of the entire month, and so we could be above average for this month finally.
Maybe we can catch up on the year, which would be great.
Yes, that's the goal. That's what we would like to hope. Here's our next chance for some rainfall. You can see this large storm system just west of us right now. This was severe a couple hours ago, but it has since weakened pretty significantly. The strongest part a little further south, moving towards the Oklahoma City metro, but we're seeing this band of rainfall enter into our viewing area in our further western counties, Howard, Sedan, Eureka. Get ready for some rainfall, especially if you're out and about, going to work, driving in that rain. Make sure you're slowing down just a hair. Give yourself a little bit of cushion time as you're heading to work or whatever you're doing this morning. Make sure you're staying aware of that. Temperatures right now, pretty mild, hanging around into the upper 60s, lower 70s across the board. Joplin 66, Neosho 68, Nevada 64, Stockton you're at 65, Independence 69. So the past hour we've cooled down just a hair, and I mean maybe less than 5 degrees across the board. That's as a result of the storm system off to our west. That's cooling us down a little bit before we'll begin to warm up quite a bit heading into the afternoon. 11 a.m. Speaking of, we'll see temperatures reach up into the 80s, 81 degrees. Just before lunchtime, we'll have that scattered chance for showers and storms throughout the mid-morning hours. That'll break down quite a bit. It's starting to lose a lot of its energy as it pushes off to the east, but then we'll see another chance for some showers and storms heading into tonight, some of which could be severe, especially heading into the later evening hours into early Saturday morning. Your afternoon, however, we'll see that those rain chances and temperatures rise up into the upper 80s, 87 degrees for your high today. Now coming up in a bit, I'll have the full timeline and the full details on those storm chances, but we could also see some warmer temperatures heading into next week. We might even see those triple digits repeat. Kind of on edge between the double digits and triple digits right now. I'll have all of the details coming up.
All right, thanks, Chloe. Authorities issue felony DWI charges after a head-on crash in Lawrence County, Missouri. The crash happened around 9:45 Thursday morning on US 60 near Verona. 2013 Ford F-150 crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a 2004 Ford F-150. Both drivers from Aurora suffered serious injuries. The driver of the 2013 F-150 was arrested and charged with felony DWI and careless and imprudent driving. An Oklahoma child died from injuries suffered in an ATV crash Thursday night. The crash happened near Winoka. Authorities say an 11-year-old girl was driving too fast for a curve, left the road where it rolled. The ATV landed on its side on top of the girl. Millions of Americans remain under an excessive heat warning today, with triple-digit temperatures expected in parts of the Southwest. Yesterday, 31 states felt 90-degree heat, with the hottest part of the season still to come. Jared Hill has the latest.
In upstate New York, the pool was the hottest place for folks trying to find a little relief from the summer sizzle.
Great to be able to go somewhere in the community and cool off. Like, the pool is awesome.
Firefighters in Maine say 90-degree temperatures have led to an uptick in emergency calls.
None of us that live in Maine are used to this kind of heat. We live in Maine because we typically like it a little bit cooler.
And it's not just here. For 3 straight days this week, measurements from the University of Maine showed Earth's average temperature reaching record highs.
We're going to continue to break records as climate change continues.
Across the country in Arizona, temperatures soared into the triple digits.
I enjoy being outside working, wildlife, plant life. The heat, it's kind of excessive, but I do enjoy it.
Still, Tucson landscaper Daniel Rivera says his crew is being careful.
We try to get out early, stay hydrated, take your breaks as you need them.
But local paramedics say they worry about tourists who may not be used to it.
People that are from out of state, they don't realize how hot it can be here, and it can really creep up on you.
The National Weather Service predicts temperatures in Arizona will reach as high as the 110s today. Jared Hill, CBS News.
With much of the country expected to continue experiencing high temperatures today, experts are warning to be on the lookout for signs of heat exhaustion. That can include heavy sweating, fainting, dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. Well, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It's called the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, folks in Frontenac, Kansas, dig into this year's Mining Days celebration. The annual event kicked off Thursday night, featuring a silent auction, bingo, live music, trivia, and amusement park rides. Mining Days celebrates the town's founding back in 1886. They honored that history with a Heritage Hall exhibit set up at the town hall.
This is basically the kickoff for it. Tonight we have our Pride Amusement Show with the carnival. We have some vendors, and then of course our Heritage Hall, which you can see behind me, is all on display.
Mining Days runs through Sunday with events including several street dances, a car cruise, a parade, dog races, a fishing derby, and a medallion hunt. Well, downtown Joplin also celebrated on Thursday. Several businesses displayed the work of local artists for the first Thursday Art Walk. The Art Walk ranged from photos to paintings and even mosaics made from Legos. Well, America's favorite doll couple took over the Arma, Kansas City Library yesterday. For this week's summer reading event, the library hosted a Barbie and Ken bash. People were encouraged to dress in their favorite Barbie and Ken attire and enjoy cupcake decorating. They made cupcakes inspired by the famous Barbie heel and cupcakes with suit ties for Ken.
So one of the things that I love most about Barbie is she can be anything, right? She can be a doctor, she can be a fashion designer, and I think that, especially growing up, for me, because I was a big Barbie girl, that was very inspiring because it showed me that no matter what, if you're a woman, you can do whatever you want to do. You just have to go do it.
The theme was inspired by the upcoming Barbie movie that will be released July 21st. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, virtual training for real-world disasters.
Preparing first responders for the worst. I'm Michael George with a look at new virtual reality training for mass casualties.
And Chloe returns with another look at your forecast and just what are the chances for storms over the weekend. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Neosho, Missouri, ahead of this year's Newton County Fair. Topping Nation Watch this morning, a cargo ship fire in Newark, New Jersey kills 2 firefighters. The fire broke out around 9:30 Wednesday night on a 12-story ship docked in Port Newark that was loaded with about 5,000 cars. Officials say the fire started in 6 or 7 cars and then spread to other floors of the ship where the firefighters became trapped. 2 maydays were called. The fallen firefighters were identified as 45-year-old Augusto Akubu and 49-year-old Wayne Brooks Jr.
It's a sad day for all of us in Newark. Our hearts are broken by the tragedy that we've experienced last night.
The firefighters last night, they displayed what it is to truly be a firefighter, and they paid the ultimate sacrifice.
5 other firefighters were also injured. Dozens of people are hurt after a double-decker bus collides with a public transit bus in Manhattan on Thursday night. Fire officials say the Top View NYC tour bus crashed into the MTA bus around 7 p.m. Witnesses say the tour bus ran a red light and T-boned the MTA bus. It appears both of the buses were full of passengers. At least 71 people were injured. 36 were taken to the hospital. The rest were evaluated at the scene. The FDNY says none of the injuries are life-threatening. A new statue honors the first American woman to travel to space. The life-sized statue of NASA astronaut and physicist Sally Ride was unveiled earlier this week at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum in Simi Valley, California, near Ride's hometown of Los Angeles. Now, Ride made history as the first American woman to fly in space aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger in June of 1983. She flew on a second mission aboard the same shuttle a year later. Ride's 99-year-old mother and sister were among those who watched the statue unveiling.
We're all so proud of our California girl, of her courage, her grit, her brilliance, her curiosity, her humor, and her commitment to see to it that all children, both male and female, have the opportunity to reach for the stars.
Another statue of Ride resides at the Cradle of Aviation Museum on New York's Long Island. Now, Ride died in 2012 of pancreatic cancer. Following her death, she was identified as NASA's first acknowledged gay astronaut. She's also been honored on a Barbie doll, a U.S. postage stamp, and a U.S. quarter. A night of celebration turned to chaos in downtown St. Louis on the 4th of July. Videos of people shooting fireworks out of cars and at each other have spread on social media. And now the city's former mayor and first black police chief is discussing what he thinks should be done. Brent Solomon reports.
On the night of the 4th of July, young people taking over the streets of downtown. The moments of chaos captured and now quickly spreading on social media.
I used to always say if we lose downtown, we'll lose the city. And I think the time is nigh. The time is right here for us to collectively understand that.
I shared some of the videos with St. Louis's first black police chief and former mayor Clarence Harmon.
If you were the police chief today, what would you be doing a day after that video?
Well, the day after that video is, well, I'm going to try to find out where were my police officers? Why didn't you see some of them when you saw all of that?
on top of people illegally shooting fireworks out of cars, into buildings, and at each other. Someone stole a scissor lift and drove it down Market Street. Others set at least 2 porta potties on fire. Add to that 2 separate, non-deadly shootings, one of them leaving the Bank of America building on Market Street with damage from a bullet. It comes weeks after police released this photo of a separate incident. Teens toting guns following a deadly mass shooting downtown. Still no word of any arrests.
A Wild West kind of attitude, we'll do what we want to do, with their understanding that nobody else is going to do anything about it. But there needs to be a plan, publicly broadcast, talking about what it is we need to do. We need to have a whole lot of people from the community, in government, in the churches, in the schools, the mayor, police chief, political organizations, churches, fraternal groups. We're at a crossroads in St. Louis. We can decide to change the trajectory of where it is we seem to be going versus what it is we think we can do.
That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chloe.
And a little bit later, we're going to talk about the chances for storms. We've got this large storm system that we're tracking right now, but I'll have all of the details and more coming up here in a bit. Stick around. Well, welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We're tracking some storms across the board a little further west of us right now. Here's where it's hanging out around. It's just passing the I-35 and moving eastward. This is the strongest area of it. It's not as severe as it was earlier. It still has a couple of severe warning storms with it, or severe warning polygons around that area with it, but it's moving towards the Oklahoma City metro. But what we're going to see is this leading edge of the rainfall. So nothing severe, but much needed heavy bands of rainfall. So make sure that you're providing yourself some extra cushion time as you're heading out this morning. If you're going to work, make sure to go maybe 10-15 minutes a little bit earlier in case you're running into this rainfall, especially if you're in the further western counties. This is going to start to enter into the region pretty soon here in the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. Just its estimation. It's moving rather slow right now. Temperatures hanging around in the 60s. We're pretty mild for the most part. In the mid to upper 60s, Carthage and Joplin 66, Parsons, 68. Veneta, you're hanging around at 67 degrees. We'll warm up into the 80s heading into today. So thankfully, a much needed change from what we saw last week into the triple digits. So thankfully, we're not at that point anymore. We have that chance for some rainfall cooling us down even more. 81 degrees by 11 a.m. and although that's still warm, it's below average for this time of year in the month of July. We could consistently see triple digits. Thankfully, we're not seeing that right now. Temperatures rising up to the upper 80s, 87 for your high today. So we'll see that warmer pattern, but not as warm, thankfully. But the rain chances will persist into the afternoon and also the evening hours as well. Tonight's low, 66 degrees. So we'll see those rain chances begin to ramp up heading into this evening, some of which could be strong and some could be severe. Here's the threat. This green area, 1 out of 5 risk, and this yellow area, 2 out of 5. So all of our threats are in that slight risk, but nothing is at a 0 at this point. Here's a look at your timeline on this. We'll see afternoon showers this Friday, today in the afternoon, and then we'll begin to see these stronger storms begin to ramp up, and then Saturday we'll see those really widespread storms begin to enter into the picture early Saturday morning. We'll continue to see that before it moves out of the picture into the mid-morning hours on Saturday, leaving us with a couple straggling showers here and there into Saturday evening, but then we'll get a break. Thankfully by Sunday morning and then into Sunday afternoon, we'll see another break for those rain chances, but still a slight chance here and there, very isolated. On Sunday, mainly the remnants of that larger storm system. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We have chances for rain across the board Friday, Saturday, and a little bit on Sunday. We'll get a break on Monday before we see those rain chances ramp up once again. We'll have some pop-up storms here and there, 30%, and then into 20% Thursday and Friday. But 99 degrees on Thursday and Friday, that's where we're watching those temperatures because they could reach up into the triple digits. But above all, super toasty. That's a look at your forecast. We'll be right back after the break.
Topping Health Watch this morning, researchers in the UK are trying to determine how hot is too hot for humans, looking at factors like the body's energy consumption as temperatures rise and how heart function is affected by the heat. They determined too hot is somewhere between 104 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit, quite a range. And it's not clear whether humans can adapt further to the rising danger of extreme heat. Now, we'll have more on this story when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14. Women older than 65 should potentially be tested for HPV even if they've never been checked before. That's the conclusion of a study out of Denmark, which finds the test could help with the early detection of precancerous lesions. Currently in the U.S., the CDC recommends doctors only test women under age 30 for HPV, the virus known to cause cervical cancer. Hearing loss in middle age may add to the fatigue of daily life. A study published in the JAMA Network finds people with hearing loss are more likely to report fatigue, possibly because of their increased effort to listen and understand. Fatigue can harm psychological well-being and decrease overall quality of life. New virtual reality tools are helping train first responders for whatever disasters come their way, from mass shootings to earthquakes. And these high-stress events are sporadic and difficult to replicate. But as Michael George reports, a new cutting-edge VR program in Ohio puts first responders right at the scene.
So you've got an injury here to your arm. We're going to put this tourniquet on you.
It's the kind of thing no first responder wants to encounter in real life, but must be ready for.
You're the only provider en route right now. You have reinforcements coming in about 10 minutes.
Through a headset, participants in this virtual reality training program are placed right in the middle of a subway bombing.
Can you lie on your back?
Trainees can move about the scene and triage victims who interact through artificial intelligence.
I liked how you recognized that she was probably the sickest.
Dr. Nicholas Kaman is an emergency medicine physician at the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center and leads the VR initiative.
There needs to be better hands-on training for first responders. So when they're in virtual reality, it feels very realistic to them that they're actually taking care of real victims.
West Licking firefighter and paramedic Anthony Walsh took a run at it.
Screaming in the background, sirens, lots of loud noises. The light was dim. That really added on to the depth of training.
The injuries, number of victims, and conditions can all be modified. Participants are scored on their performance and debriefed after.
Many of them might want to go back in and try a harder scenario. So there is a gamification piece to this.
But with the number of mass casualty incidents rising, the consequences are very real and critical. Michael George, CBS News.
The Ohio State University College of Medicine plans to expand the program and license the software for other agencies to use. Let's look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And here's another look at starting your morning. We'll see temperatures rise up into the 80s by 11 a.m. Once again, a chance for some showers and storms throughout the day, most prominently throughout the later evening hours. A high of 87 heading into today and a low of 66 heading into tonight. Your sunset, 8:41 p.m. So here's a look at the rest of the 7-day forecast. We've got chances for rain heading into this weekend. Saturday, 60% chance and then a 20% chance. On Sunday, we'll see a break on Monday, and then we'll have some more pop-up storms possible into the rest of next week. The end of next week, though, heading into upper 90s, 99 for Thursday and Friday. We may reach triple digits at that point, so keep in mind with those warmer temperatures. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for this KOAM Morning News at 6:30.
Right now at 6:30, Crowder College can set some lofty goals thanks to a very generous donation of more than $1.
We're tracking the chances for storms this weekend. I'll have all of the details coming up.
KOAM's Fernanda Silva takes us to West 7th Street in Joplin, where one local company has planted a beautification project.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chloe Arroyo. We're seeing a lot of rain chances in the month of July, which is much needed for the drought. We're already 0.6 inches below the average for the month of July. My goodness, I'm losing track of the months at this point already. But
It's
yes,
not January. No.
It's not January, no. And we're definitely not feeling like January, but lots of rain chances in the forecast, which will be good for our agriculture, thankfully. Here's what we're looking at right now. The Skywatch Storm Tracker. We're seeing these strong storms just west of us. Now, thankfully, it's moving south and west, so it's generally moving towards the Oklahoma City metro around the I-35 corridor. But the rain chances that we're going to see up further north, we'll see this leading edge is starting to enter into our further western counties around Eureka, Howard, and Sedan. So if you're in those areas and you're heading to work, make sure you're leaving yourself a good 5 or 10 minutes extra as you're driving, so you can drive a little cautious, because some areas could see some heavier rainfall around this area moving further east, and that's going to continue to do so within the next couple of hours. Current temperatures hanging around into the 60s, into the mid to upper 60s across the board. It's Joplin 66, Lamar 65, 66 for Stockton as well. Miami hanging around at 67. Parsons, you're at 68 degrees. So we're pretty mild right now, and then we're going to warm up pretty swiftly into the 80s, heading into the mid-morning to afternoon hours. Our high reaching up into the upper 80s. Now, coming up here in a bit, we'll talk about when those temperatures will reach the upper 90s and potentially triple digits once again, unfortunately. Plus, I'll have the further details on when those storm chances when we'll see those storm chances heading into this weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in a bit.
All right, thanks, Chloe. Engineering technology program at Neosho's Crowder College gets a boost from a 7-figure gift. On Thursday, the college received a $1.4 million check from the estate of Greta Mitzi Rennick, a retired General Dynamics employee who died in March at the age of 94. Now, the college president says it's among the largest individual gifts in the college's 60-year history. Among other things, it'll allow Crowder to endow a new faculty position in engineering technology. Earnings from a portion of the money will help fund that position perpetually.
Professional development of the faculty position helps them do any research or keep up credentials that otherwise may not occur. And that's what this gift will do, is we're going to have the premier engineering tech program in the area.
Earnings from the fund will also help support a leadership academy, construction of a press box, and other improvements at the Rough Rider softball field. You might notice a bit more color on a historic Joplin street these days. Inspired by a St. Louis suburb initiative, a Joplin greenhouse started a project to beautify the city by adding flowers to West 7th Street. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
In April, Albert Ferris decided to bring more color and life to the surrounding area of his greenhouse. He mixed business with pleasure and partnered with other local stores and with the city of Joplin to put 7 planters on the historic Route 66.
And it's turned out really well. It makes it look a little more like a neighborhood. Just kind of makes it a sense of community. Kind of thought maybe, well, you never know what's going to happen if you do one little good thing. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe somebody else will get excited and do something on their end of town.
It beautifies the whole area, it beautifies the street, the neighborhood. It just gives you a smile when you go by it. Makes them look a little more human.
The idea is simple but effective. The nursery sells a pot to the business and offers them the soil and the flowers free of charge. Scott Smith, owner of Auto Glass on West 7th Street, says his wife promised to water the flowers weekly if he would join the project.
As a local business, whenever you get the opportunity to beautify your area that you're working in, it's a great opportunity to do so. When you pull in, you don't see just grass and different stuff. So you got some flowers and different things to keep your mind up with the different colors.
Around 6 little vases of Supertunia like this one are enough to have a planter as big as this one.
It's a sign of life. It just makes a place look like it's flourishing, to have beautiful, vibrant, flourishing flowers.
It's always important to uplift people's spirits, and a few little flowers can just do it. It's never going to put a frown on your face.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The project started in April. Albert hopes the supertunias will still be blooming on Thanksgiving. Next year, it continues, and flowers will be planted and replanted at no charge to businesses in the area. Great program. Well, 3 local veterans got a chance to take to the skies in a World War II era biplane. The nonprofit Dream Flights hosted the trip for 3 veterans living at medical lodges in Columbus, Kansas. 98-year-old Louis Saketa, 74-year-old Ivan Queen, and 75-year-old Morgan Davidson. The flights took off from Pittsburgh's Atkinson Municipal Airport and lasted about 20 minutes.
Give them life back. Most of them are in assisted living facilities, and they're bound within the walls of that facility for many years. And so being able to thank them for their service and give back in any way that we can.
Dream Flights was founded in 2011 and has hosted nearly 6,000 flights for veterans. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. KOAM Shannon Becker helps us close out one hot holiday week with his Big 3 news stories. He's right after the break.
Plus, we've got a chance for some storms this weekend. We'll have the details coming up here in a bit. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. But first, here's a look at our NEO show, Newton County Fair Live, right now. We'll be back right after the break.
Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in studio this morning to help us close out the week with his Big 3 stories.
Yep, what's live and local this week? What's happening where you live? Number 3 this week, it was a domestic assault investigation with a firearm. Joplin police did a contain and call out asking a man to come out of a residence on Sargent, and he didn't want to, obviously. It took about 3 hours for him to finally come out. He even had to get the police MRAP. It's the armored vehicle to knock down that front door there. And finally, he did come out. He's facing a lot of charges, felony charges for resisting arrest, also burglary and assault as well. More details.
More than likely have to pay to fix that door.
Oh, yeah, exactly. More details on our website, KOAM News Now. Number 2, Joplin News First. House fire, Carthage, completely destroyed.
Wow.
This is early morning hours of July 4th, and Ryan Huntley, Carthage Fire Chief, he tells us he cannot rule out that fireworks was the cause. Family had picked up all the fireworks the night before and placed them in a trash can up next to the house, and that's where the fire originated. All of the what we call evidence, to show like if there was a trash can was still there, it was all destroyed, but he can tell that that is where the fire originated, where that trash can was. Our number 1 story. It went off without a bang, well, with a bang, I guess, okay, right? The Asbury Power Plant this last week, they imploded it. It's been a little more than 50 years it's been in existence. That went offline in March of 2020, and everything began in 1970. Started building in about 1967. It was all down in about 22 seconds. It went really, I was there filming it live. And they're counting down and everything, and then I still jumped.
You're planning for it, yeah.
It was really, really loud.
Just amazing,
Freaked me
though.
out,
Like
yeah.
the history there, and
it was coal burning. So even during the 70s of the gas crisis, this kept going strong. In the later years, it was actually used half coal and half tires, old tires. And then our bonus story of the week. This is really cool. 1942 Sperry Spotlight is what it is. You see the spotlights, showing, oh, something's going on, something's for sale. Well, this is actually, originally, these Sperry Spotlights were used during World War II to spot German warplanes that were doing night raids. Local guy, Bycroft, has actually refurbished this spotlight, and he goes out and, he was at the military fireworks, showing a spotlight. But the history behind it is so incredible. And
I really want him to put a Batman emblem on it.
Yeah, exactly. He could, maybe, I don't know. But if you look really close, it's actually a fire inside there. It's the arcing of two carbon rods that arc together to create that intense light that's reflected off of a parabolic mirror. So the science, even 1942, super cool.
Does he have it set up all the time?
Oh yeah, you can get it. He's on Facebook. It's on our. We wrote a whole story all about it. Everything you just we're dying to know about a searchlight. Yep. It's KOAM News Now. It's our bonus story of the week, live and local.
I'll have to reach out to him and see if he can find Batman for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much. If you don't mind sticking around for our Fox show, we'd appreciate it.
I'll be here.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, you know what time it is? It is my favorite part of the morning, starting us off with Wyatt Dooley, 2 years old from Columbus, Kansas. Happy birthday, Wyatt.
All right, Austin Blackledge celebrating birthday number 9 in Joplin.
All right, happy 11 from Fort Scott, Kansas, Cade Hickson. Happy birthday.
All right, Gina Seaver is celebrating birthday number 12 this year out in Nevada.
And Sweet 16 for Noah Sparks. Happy birthday from Baxter Springs, Kansas.
All right, Mom and Dad are giving out a birthday shout out to Callie Powell, who is now 17 years old. Callie is in Girard. Kaylee, I'm sorry.
Well, it's your day, Carrie Lance. Happy 36th birthday from Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Happy birthday, Carrie. And Tammy Dietz is 45 this year. Tammy is in Weir.
Now keeping it in the Dietz family, happy birthday, Matt Dietz. You'll be 47. That's Tammy's husband. His birthday is on Sunday.
All right, it's a party weekend for the Dietzes. Rhonda Herrenbrook are celebrating a birthday in Columbus.
Happy birthday, Regina Dooling from Crestline, Kansas. Sisters born on the same day, several years apart.
All right, that'd be Rhonda and Regina. That's pretty cool. All right, Mary Hayward is 53 this year in Altamont, Kansas. Happy birthday, Uma, from all the grandkids.
Oh, happy birthday. And happy birthday, Jerry Jones from Nevada, Missouri. Happy birthday from your mom and daughter.
And it's a first wedding anniversary for the Brewers. Congrats going out to Jeremiah and Jennifer.
And 61st anniversary to Paul and Marilyn Westervelt, excuse me. Happy anniversary, you two.
All right, Melissa York in Crestline. Happy birthday from the Crestline girls.
Happy birthday, Amanda Burr from Lamar, Missouri. I'm just excited for these birthdays. Happy birthday.
And in Baxter Springs, Becky Bunce is celebrating a year wiser. Hope it's a great one.
Happy birthday, Herb Headley, 65 from Uniontown, Kansas. Have a happy birthday. And you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club as well. Just submit your birthday to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. It is a fun time out here on the KOAM Morning News.
And you can go to our website and register for the KOAM Birthday Club and be eligible for lots of really cool deals and from local businesses, lots of coupons, fun things there. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for the Birthday Club.
Well, if it was your birthday today and you were wishing for rain, you are in luck. Your wish will come true. We've got some strong storms off to our west. This large system is what we're looking at. The stronger parts a little further south. But here's the rain and beginning to enter into our further western counties. So around Eureka, Howard, and Sedan, you're starting to see a little bit of rainfall that'll begin to build up as we head into the next hour or so. So for your morning commute, make sure you get a little bit of extra cushion time on that commute drive to work this morning. Temperatures right now hanging around into the 60s, 66 for Joplin, 69 Miami, Cassville at 66, Grove, you're hanging around at 69 degrees. Right now we're going to warm up into the 80s heading into the mid-morning to afternoon hours, 81 degrees by 11 a.m. We've got those chances for scattered storms all around the mid-morning to afternoon hours. It'll be very isolated until we head into tonight. So some folks may see some folks may not this afternoon. That's something to keep in mind, but we'll warm up into the upper 80s heading into today, 87 degrees. For your high, once again, we'll have those storm chances ramp up into the afternoon, especially into the evening hours. Tonight's low, 66 degrees. Here's our chance for some isolated strong to severe storms. This darker green area is a level 1 out of 5, and the yellow level 2 out of 5. Slight chance for some severe weather. Here are the modes for severe weather. Main threat being those wind gusts, but all very slight at this point. So nothing too strong at this point, but we've got temperatures cooling down with this as well. The timing on this anywhere from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Here's a timeline on this. We'll see some scattered showers begin to enter into the picture Friday afternoon. A couple here and there. They'll be very sparse until we head into the evening, into the later overnight hours. We'll see them become a little bit more prominent. Some could be strong, some could be severe, especially into northeastern Oklahoma. We could really see those storms begin to ramp up. So it could be a loud night for some folks, especially in our southernmost counties. So we'll continue to see that, and then we'll see some remnants of that afterwards. Saturday afternoon, temperatures into the 70s and 80s for most folks in the afternoon tomorrow, and then Sunday will clear out. We'll still have a little bit of a chance for some isolated showers here and there on Sunday, but for the most part will be pretty nice, especially heading into Monday. Will be mostly sunny with 92 degrees, and then we'll warm up into the upper 90s heading in for Thursday and Friday. That's a look at your forecast. Now, one more look at the CBS National News.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, Tony talks with a bipartisan group of senators who negotiated the most sweeping gun control measure in decades and why they believe it's already saved lives. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The engineering technology program at Neosho's Crowder College gets a boost from a 7-figure gift. Thursday afternoon, the college received a $1.4 million check from the estate of Greta Mitzi-Rennick, a retired General Dynamics employee who died in March at age 94. The college president says it's among the largest individual gifts in the college's 60-year history. 3 local veterans got a chance to take to the skies in a World War II-era biplane. The nonprofit Dream Flights hosted the trip for 3 veterans living at medical lodges in Columbus, Kansas. The flights took off from Pittsburgh's Atkinson Municipal Airport and lasted 20 minutes. And folks, dig into Mining Days, the annual event in Frontenac, Kansas. It featured a silent auction, bingo, live music, trivia, and amusement park rides. Mining Days celebrates the town's founding back in 1886. They honored that history with a Heritage Hall exhibit set up at the town hall. Downtown Joplin also celebrated on Thursday. Several businesses displayed the work of local artists for the first Thursday Art Walk. The art walk ranged from photos to paintings and even mosaics made from Legos. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Speaking of what you need to know before you head out the door, further western counties need to watch for some rainfall. This morning we have some chances for rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But even into Monday we'll get a break where those temperatures will begin to warm up. We'll see some pop-up storms here and there Tuesday through Friday, but that's when our temperatures are going to really warm up. 99 degrees on Thursday and Friday. We're really watching those 2 days to see if we'll break triple digits. But we're really getting back into the hotter temperatures, and we might even have a couple of alert days issued with that pretty soon here. It's too far to tell right now, but we're keeping track of that before you see some clear skies on Sunday and Saturday of next week. All right.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making darn good corn salad in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. One Alzheimer's expert is calling a new drug a game changer. Ahead on the CBS Mornings, details on the new medicine that could prevent some of the most severe symptoms of Alzheimer's disease.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Shannon Becker back in studio with his big 3 news stories of the week.
Plus, KOAM's Jasmine Knight takes us to the Arma, Kansas City Library, where they've transformed it into a Barbie world, at least for this week. But that'll wrap it up for now. We'll be right back here on, what day is it today? Friday? On Monday morning. We'll be there Monday morning.
Yeah. And we're going to do it again today at noon.